There is nothing wrong with your internet. Do not attempt to adjust your settings. We are controlling the podcast. We control the squealing and the screams. We can make your heart flutter, your eyes blur from tears, or sharpen your mind to crystal clarity. For the next hour, sit back. We are in control of what you hear. We repeat, there is nothing wrong with your settings. You are about to experience the awe and mystery known as the female mind. You are now entering the Fangirl Zone.
Hello everyone and welcome to Sci-Fi Talk on the Fangirl Zone, a podcast where we discuss shows that used to be on the Sci-Fi Channel. I am Sean Fangirl S.
And I'm Steve, and tonight we'll be discussing episode 3 of season 5 of The Expanse.
Ooh, oh my gosh. It just keeps getting more and more tense as we're going.
Oh, yes, it does.
Every time I'm like, is that the end of it? Okay, no, there's more. Okay, is that... what's happening?
Yeah,
and then when the end comes, it's like, that's the end!
Yeah. You're stopping here? No!
Yes, that's exactly.
I need more!
You have some show news for us, though.
Yes. After playing Joe Miller on the show, Thomas Jane has returned to The Expanse for season 5.
What?
As he directed this episode. Done an
That's
awesome job, too.
I was expecting him to pop up again somewhere else, but as the director?
Yes, as the director. That's just greatness.
Wow, all right. All right, Thomas Jane. I think we're going to have him, join us some more. I don't know, in the show itself, but maybe flashbacks or something. You never know. They've mentioned protomolecule.
That's right. Keeping our fingers crossed.
All right. Let's jump into episode 3. Mother. That never sounds good.
No!
Holden tries to convince Fred Johnson to destroy the last sample of protomolecule. Naomi gets an important lead to her son. On Luna, Avasarala begins to hunt for Marco Inaros. And hopefully I'll say Marco's name right this time. I always say Marcos. I don't know why. But yeah, this is interesting, the way it all kind of played out to me. Because it's
Absolutely.
Nobody wanted to listen to another person who might know something.
Yep.
Because, of course, we're opening with Avasarala and Delgado getting some outsider perspective on things, which I found really interesting because they bring in somebody who works in the private sector on Luna to evaluate their finding. And he does notice that these hunks of rock that they have shown him and observed here and there are vanished, it seems to vanish on one side because things aren't quite right. And they obviously can't tell him, well, that's stealth tech.
Right.
But this is very odd for an asteroid.
Yes.
And he kind of extrapolates, well, it looks like this broke up, and now there's a whole bunch of pieces. It was something from a larger meteor, perhaps. And all of a sudden, Avasarala and Delgado kind of look at each other and they're like, oh, crap. Well, how many more can it be? It's like, well, there's no way to know.
Right.
And now you have a whole lot of pieces, not just one giant piece, that has really good shielding on it. So this could be really, really bad. Which, of course, we know this. But what does that mean? That means somebody else is just not going to listen. We know that's going to happen.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know about you, but that drives me crazy. So, after their new friend leaves, after being threatened to tell nobody.
Right.
Avasarala does realize, all right, this is Martian tech that had to be utilized by Marco. Because who else is doing it? Because why would Mars send it on a collision course that could well pass us and hit them?
Right.
And she's like, listen, you gotta get the powers that be to redo the watchtowers. I can't remember exactly.
Link it in. They wanted to link the watchtowers into the asteroid detection system so it would see the stealth tech.
Yes, because it's pointed at Mars because of the stealth tech that it's able to see. But, of course, nobody's going to listen to that because, hello, Mars could still be coming after us. It's like, yeah, we have bigger problems right now.
Right.
But, yeah, screaming into the wind, apparently. Because later Delgado informs Avasarala that he failed in persuading the powers to be to move the watchtowers in preparation for a possible asteroid strike. And Delgado seems to be losing faith. And of course, Avasarala is like, please don't lose faith. You're the only person who still believes. You can't quit. And well, he quits. this is pretty upsetting because Avasarala doesn't really have anybody in her corner. And it upsets me personally because he knows that he was in that freaking meeting with the guy who is like, yeah, these are a bunch of asteroids that are covered in stealth tech. You need to fight harder because these things are coming. You just don't know where they're going to come to.
Yeah. And I think a lot of it is if he brings up Avasarala, he gets shut down immediately.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he just isn't able to come up with a good explanation as to why they need to do that without using her name. And that's his whole problem is he can't come up with a good story saying, well, look at it. Mars has been having all this stuff because he doesn't, I mean, he knows, but he doesn't completely have the proof that Bobby has gathered, which makes no sense. You would think, I'm sure he knows about it, but Avasarala may be still holding on to it because she's using government money to pay Bobby off to help pay for it. Could be, but still, I think that if he would went about it that way, maybe they might have listened.
I don't know. I kind of feel like Nancy Gow was never going to listen.
No, she shut it down
pretty much right away.
Yeah. In last episode. So yeah, you knew that, and more than likely she talked to everybody in her cabinet and said, don't listen to Avasarala.
Yeah, not like she might know something.
Right.
But Avasarala does take her daughter's advice and reaches out to her husband, Arjun. But all she's able to do is leave him a voice message. Suddenly, she does get a notification on her phone, which of course she's hoping is her husband, but it's Fred Johnson with the Ashford audio file. And she hears Marco and Ashford's last conversation prior to Ashford's murder. And there's her credibility. Now, I get that she's kind of like, well, I can't really take this anywhere because it doesn't specifically say it.
Right.
And she's been able to piece it together. But again, I think Gow would be so blind to her hatred of Avasarala that she wouldn't be able to put it together.
Right.
Which this
is not very frustrating.
Yes, especially by the end of the episode. It's like, God dang it. So let's go to Drummer. So we see Drummer sleeping with her crewmates, and apparently it's like, okay, everyone's just in the bunks all over.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess if you're just that close, it seems a little weird to me. But again, I'm not that close to anybody to be like, I'm not going to sleep naked in this room. It's totally fine. Anyway, she wakes to learn that Tynan is close at hand. It's like, wait, what? So everyone get up and get dressed because we got stuff to do. And Drummer orders that certain commodities be transferred from the Tynan to their ship. However, there seems to be no sign of backup of Ashford's files, which we know that's not true.
No.
Drummer worked with him enough to know that there's something somewhere. It's like, all right, start picking it apart. Now, as they are, and nobody's able to find anything, I started to think, what if they're not part of Drummer's crew, really?
Right.
What if they're like
working for Anaros?
Yeah, and like they found something and they deleted it or something. Like I was starting to believe that because I'm paranoid, apparently, when it comes to this crew. So,
we know nothing about her crew, so there's reason to doubt that they're all on her side.
Yeah, because come on, Drummer knows there's something there, and they can't find anything anywhere.
Right.
And then all of a sudden there was a airlock that there was a problem, and she's like, I'll go do it. And I was like, no, they're gonna space her.
Right.
I was so freaked out, especially when she goes in there. I'm like, can they see her? Are they gonna do something? Oh my God. I was like literally sitting on my couch, all tensed up, going, oh no.
You can't kill Drummer, don't you dare.
No, they almost killed her before. Not again. I can't take it.
Yeah.
And she goes out, into like the airlock area, and there's, I guess, like a fire extinguisher.
Yep.
And all of a sudden, like she tries to move something, and she looks over and notices that there's another one right there. And I don't know if it's not normal to have two that close. Or,
more than likely.
I would say, or if Ashford is just never that great. It's like, wait a second, this is weird. And she starts messing with it and notices it opens at the bottom. And there's all sorts of stuff in there. A gun.
Yeah.
And a recording device that contains the audio of Ashford's last conversation with Marco and Nara. Now, I'm assuming it was also backup for files, but I don't know. And literally Ashford's last words, including his singing right before he was spaced. It's like, oh my God.
Yeah, she gets to hear his last words.
That was rough.
Yes. And it devastates her.
Yes. Drummer does pocket the device. And the crew is celebrating again. They seem to do a lot of that because...
Most belters do.
They're like, yeah, we got all this. This is great. And Drummer's like, yeah, we're going to go after Marco now. And they're like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Like all of a sudden it's like, hold on. We were having a good time. What's going on? She's like, the bounty on his head is a cool 20 million. That could last us for years to come. And the crew all kind of looks at each other like, wait, is she for real?
Yeah. I don't want to die.
Right?
Going after this 20 mil.
And I think the big thing is because they don't know, like, the whole situation.
Right. Oh, absolutely. They don't know the complete story with Drummer and Ashford, so.
Yeah, so I don't know if it would have been better for Drummer to tell them what she's found. It's like, Marco didn't care. He was spacing our people. So he doesn't care about anybody but himself. And then maybe they're like, wait, okay, he's not this great person we think he is. But either way, Drummer's out for blood. And she's like, hey, if you want out, you can have out. No worries.
Right.
Yeah, everyone's like...
They still look at her like, what's wrong with you?
Yeah, it's like, okay. And later we see Drummer aboard the Tynan, sitting in Ashford's old chair. Which I feel like, okay, she's pretty upset because of everything that could have happened.
Right.
And she kind of talks about it because the plan was to revitalize the Titan for future travel, and now she's going to use it to help hunt down Marco.
Right.
And she's holding that bottle that she'd given Ashford, and it's like, oh god. Yeah, just twist the knife a little more in our chest, thank you.
Yes.
And is it Oksana? I always say her name wrong. Because she comes in and Drummer decides to tell her, I gave this bottle to Ashford because he asked me to be his first mate and I didn't go. But I told him we'd drink this later, and it's like, this is all that's left. And of course, Oksana is trying to be like, if you were there, you'd be dead too.
Right.
But Drummer's like, or he would have been alive. So that guilt is just kind of tearing her up. And personally, 100% my own opinion, I feel like that's really heart-wrenching and hard to see because we've never seen Drummer look like that.
Right.
We've always seen her like this hard ass, get things done, I will deal with my own crap later.
Right.
And so when this comes down...
Kind of like Naomi.
Yeah. So when this comes down, it's just like, I'm not ready for this.
Yeah, it rips your heart out to see how broken Drummer is in this moment.
Yes. And I was kind of surprised because at the very end with Drummer, she ends up sending Ashford's file to someone. I mean, we don't exactly know if it's Johnson or Avaslara or who she sends it to, but she says, this is not my fight.
Right.
But she's making it her fight at the same time because she's going after Marco.
Well, I think by her saying, this isn't my fight, she's had a change of heart and she's not going after Marco.
Oh, you don't think so?
No, I think the whole emotional breakdown and Oksana being as comforting as she was basically convinced Drummer not to put this crew in jeopardy like that.
Oh, see, I was thinking she's still going, but she's saying it to be like, all right, whoever gets him first, though.
Right, yeah. She's letting the higher-ups take care of it.
Oh, see, I was not thinking of it that way. I'm thinking she's like, all right, more people going after him, the better off I am.
Right.
And if I get him and get the bounty, hey, bonus for me.
Right.
But I guess we'll see, just in case something changes.
Yeah.
Let's go to Tycho. Monica is revealing footage from an attack on Ceres to Holden and Fred Johnson. And apparently, one of the people, Cortazar, who was at the scene of this crime, was an initial proto-molecule, I'm saying this wrong, curator. So that can't be good.
No, somebody took one of the proto-molecule scientists and taken off with him. So, yeah, this is not good.
No, because here we are thinking, okay, we finally got rid of it all and it's done. We've seen what happened on way too many places. I can't even say all the places because proto-molecule has jacked up so much stuff.
Right.
So somebody is like, oh, well, I didn't get a chance to play with it. I can do better, apparently.
Of course. Every scientist is going to think that.
When you see this happen, you're like, are you
Yeah, you're going to learn the hard way.
It's just so irritating.
Yes. Nobody will listen to Holden.
No, never. What do you mean you have experience? I don't care. But anyway, let's get back to Monica. Monica cannot connect these dots, and she cannot recall the details of the people who were her assailants either. So she just remembers fighting off 2 people. Well, that could be anything.
Yeah.
So Holden and Johnson quickly leave, to which Monica retorts, they're hiding something. Of course they're hiding something, Monica. Come on.
Yeah.
And Johnson urges Holden and Bull to look into Monica's attackers first, who are, of course, still at large, before jumping into the protomolecule thing. Oh, great, because...
Wrong plan.
Right. But we do end up finding that Johnson, Holden, and Bull learn that the owners of the shipping container where Monica was trapped are still on board the Tycho station. So great, we're going to go find them and talk to them. And they're found dead. Well, they're not talking to anybody, apparently.
No.
And wait a second, there's still somebody coming to get that shipping container. The transport Zamita. Wait, so they're still coming. We'll set up an ambush. Yeah, that sounds good.
That probably won't go well.
Yeah. I mean, everything's been going just bang up so far. Great. So we'll see how well that works probably next episode.
Yeah.
And now we're going to go to Palace Station, where we see Naomi. And she hits up a bar and reunites with Sin and Carl. Well, she's more excited to see one than the other because apparently Carl's not a fan of Naomi.
No. And that's not a good sign.
No. I mean, I figured it was just normal, like, whatever, you're with them now, kind of thing.
Right. You left us, so I don't like you anymore.
But who knows? But after the short reminiscing happens, she reveals why she's actually on Palace Station, that she wants to talk to Philip. And of course, Carl's like, he doesn't want anything to do with you. And Naomi's like, well, maybe he should be able to make his own decisions. It's like, uh-oh, these 2 are going to fight. That's all I kept thinking.
Right.
But she does really plead with Sin. Please, just tell him I want to talk to him. And then let him make up his own mind.
Right.
So apparently Sin managed to arrange the meeting, but it wasn't exactly super happy.
No. And if anybody expected it to be a happy reunion, they freaking crazy.
Right. Like anybody thought, oh yeah, that'll be great. Philip would be like, oh mom, hey, this is awesome.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, no, he's pretty mad at his mom for abandoning him. And I can't remember everything. I thought Marco hid Philip.
He did.
Okay.
Yeah, Philip doesn't know the whole story. That's for sure.
Okay. That's why,
he hid Philip so Naomi couldn't take him with her when she left.
Okay. Because Naomi admits that she was wrong and, of course, apologizes, and she doesn't expect forgiveness. But I didn't understand why she didn't say, your father hid you from me. I was trying to take you away. But then he would have probably been mad anyway because his dad's kind of not brainwashed him, but raised him in a certain way.
Yes.
Which is almost brainwashing, I guess. But you know what I mean.
It is.
But it's, no, your mother left because she wanted to do stuff for herself instead of for us. And it's like, why? Why are you going to play off each other like that? I hate that. And that's not just in sci-fi. But
having experienced that in real life, yes, I am totally against that myself.
Yes. Naomi reveals that she has a vessel for you, for Philip. So you can leave, you can start over. I will send you money. Just go and make your own decision. Get as far away from Marco as possible because he's destructive and you're going to end up getting hurt.
Yeah. And you go, oh, really? Where did Naomi come up with the money to buy a whole freaking ship?
I was guessing it was some kind of reward.
Probably.
I mean, they did save
that's a whole lot of money.
I was assuming it was something to do with the ore or whatever that they helped get. Yeah. They gave them this, like, hey, you helped us survive and get the ship off, so here's this. You all get, like, this reward for helping us. Or they get a cut all the time because they did it and help, hold up their claim. I don't know. But yeah, it's interesting because I'm sure the ship's not cheap. It's not like, hey, I'm going to run down to the corner store and pick up a ship.
Yeah. It's not a $500 used car.
Right. Value meal.
Yeah.
So, of course, Philip is like, whatever. And he leaves. And Naomi is like, dang it. this isn't working. So I guess she's just going to leave, right? Because she's back on the ship, and she never told him the name of the ship.
No.
So I don't know how he just goes there. But Sid and Growl are in the shadows and shock Naomi, which I thought they stabbed her at first, the way she grabbed her side.
Right, yeah.
And I was like, oh my God. And then Sid is going to like take her away. I'm assuming like throw her onto the station or something. And Philip's like, no, I thought he was going to space her. Apparently I am stuck on people getting spaced.
Yes.
Because he's like, no, she's going with us. And I was like, wait, what? And Crawl was none too pleased with that one.
No, so, this won't end well for anybody.
No. So this should be interesting how this part plays out. And again, I am like so fearful for our people.
Yes, right now it's not looking good for anybody.
No. And finally, we're going to go to Mars because we've been waiting for what's going on here. Because Bobby and Alex, okay, you two got a lot going on here too. Bobby actually let Alex in on, I can't say the game plan, but, you know, it's like, this is what's going on. Alex doesn't believe it, but we're going to figure this out. So I'm going to help get dirt on the Admiral that I don't believe is part of it, but I will help either get dirt or clear his name.
Right.
So, okay. Because he still believes that the Admiral's hands are clean. I don't know about that.
No.
But Bobby's like, nah, I think he's my guy. I'm iffy, like, personally. I don't know about you, Steve.
Right. Yeah. I think, I mean, back last season with the law guy, it wasn't until we really found out what his motivation was that you go, okay, he's not really a bad guy. He's just trying to get his family off of Mars. I kind of have a feeling this is going to be a very similar type of story where both Babbage and the Admiral are basically selling out Mars so they can get to the ring gate as well.
See,
but I don't think they have quite family ties, so.
I really think it's just Babbage. But we'll see.
Right.
But, alright, we need the nitty gritty, right? So Alex goes to talk to Babbage on a, not a date. Yeah, not a date. But she is dodging questions, and she's like, hey, sit over here. Oh, hey, let's have this drink. And I'm like, she is trying to either get him drunk so he starts talking.
Of course.
Or, like, I don't know what. Or she's going to drug him.
Right.
But, like, she's asking all these questions, and I'm sitting there like, Alec, are you really spilling all this? Or
yeah, really?
Is this, like, you trying to give just enough information? Like, I really thought he was spilling too much information.
Oh, I absolutely agree with that. He was just letting the mouth go, and he was giving up way too much information about what actually happened.
Right. And I'm like, I don't like that he's giving her all this information.
No. That can come back and haunt him real quick.
And as he's kind of walking her, I don't know where, because it doesn't seem like they're by apartments or anything, they shared goodnight kiss, which kind of surprised me because I'm like, wasn't Alex just trying to make up with his wife?
Right.
And
no, I don't really think he initiated it. I think Babbage was being the aggressor with that.
He didn't seem to.
Well, he wasn't going to fight it. Hell no. He's a cowboy.
And Babbage does agree to a second date, though. And Alex is like, oh, how about tomorrow? She's like, oh, no, I'm running out on a supply run. Whether she meant to say it or not, she did. And he's like, oh, okay.
Right.
Well, what's
the ship name? Oh.
Yeah, I figured it was going to be like, okay, I will keep an eye out for your ship then when you come back. I thought that's what he was going to say.
Right.
You know, kind of like, I'm not just trying to get information. Like, all right, I'll try to watch for your ship to come back then. Kind of like, I'm all waiting for our date or something.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. It didn't come out quite right for Alan.
No, it didn't. And I see a big booby trap in his future.
Mm-hmm. But then Alex goes up to his room and knocks into somebody. He's like, oh, sorry. And all of a sudden they're like, hey, are you Alex? It's like, yeah, and you admit it.
Yeah.
Really?
Never do that.
Dude. And he ends up getting jumped by two people. One injects him with a really powerful sedative, which I really thought he was faking it.
Right.
I'm like, oh no, he's spilling the beans on everything.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I'm trying to figure out what the dealings are with the Admiral, and yeah, Bobby's in on it. What? And thankfully, Bobby doesn't burst in, but she comes in, to talk to Alex when these people were about to kill him. So, woohoo, good job, Bobby.
Yeah.
And knocks them out, and in fact, ends up shooting that one person up with their own sedative, or truth serum.
That was good.
So the police show up, and I love it. They're like, "Are you sure you don't know him?" No. Oh, well, they're dishonorably discharged petty officers. And I wanted to be like, okay, just because Bobby was dishonorably discharged doesn't mean she knows all these other dishonorably discharged people.
Exactly.
Well, most likely they must be working with the Admiral, right?
Right.
I don't know. But it's interesting because why else would they just have popped up right away?
Exactly.
Bobby seizes this opportunity to send Avasarala some more intel. And maybe these assailants are part of the whole Martian Belter deals.
Yep. Very possible.
Okay. Now, the very last scene was unreal because then we had to wait for a week. We're on Earth and we see a man throwing some, bread or something into the ocean for some fish or birds, whichever. And then we see some fish jumping out of the ocean, but all of a sudden we see a ton of birds and fish going like kind of crazy and they're going away. Yeah. And he's like, what? And you see like the asteroid just like flamed up coming into the Earth atmosphere and hits the water and just this major kind of explosion and the water comes up. And that poor man is gone.
Oh, yeah. He had no chance.
Yeah. So I'm just like, oh my God, what does this mean? So is that like big enough to be like an Earth killer? It's like, what is it? Are we losing like whole parts of Earth? Like, I don't know how big any of these are and what this means.
Right. I'm thinking it's not big enough to be an Earth killer. I think if it'd been the original asteroid that Marco got, then that could have been. But because he split it up into pieces, I think that this is kind of like a nuke going off.
Well, he didn't mean to split it up. It just happened to break up next to that sun. So we got lucky, I guess.
Right.
Oh my gosh. Well, we are not the only ones who have thoughts on this episode.
Oh, no, we're not. As our friend Fred from the Netherlands has provided us some feedback. So let's hear what he thinks of this episode.
Hello, Steve, Sean, and all listeners to the Fangirl Zone. This is Fred from the Netherlands with some feedback for The Expanse Season 5, Episode 3. I wonder how Kamina Drummer got her perfect legs. In the beginning of the episode, we see her to get out of bed and we see two very slim, beautiful, naked legs. She had an exoskeleton and her legs were crushed between two big trucks or something like that when she was in a cargo hold together with Klaas Edgeworth. So what happened to her legs? When she gets out of bed, we see a little bit of nudeness, and I thought Cara Gee, so the actress who plays Drummer, had a body double. Why did I think that? Because you don't see her face. The face is always turned away, so that's why I got the idea of a body double. But I don't think she had a body double. You could see an ear, and ears are quite unique. So if you compare that ear with a shot later on, it was really herself. Or they had her head glued on the body of somebody else. But I don't think that. I can't suppress the sexual harassment story about Kes Anwar when we see Alex with this Babbage. I really wonder if his fellow actors knew about this thing when they were still working together. I think it would be very difficult to work with somebody of which you know such things. And I have to say, it really disturbs me when I see Alex now. I just cannot enjoy his role anymore. Very sad. I find it a little strange, by the way, that when Bobby asks Alex with what ship Babbage will fly out, they both assume that this information that she will fly out with the Barkeith is right. She easily could have lied to him. So there is no doubt at all there. They don't verify it somehow. I thought that was not thorough enough. I wonder who drummer Klaus Esford's data sends. At the end, Avasarala gets these data, but before we see her, well, let's say smartphone, we see a picture of Fred Johnson. So did drummer send it to Avasarala directly, or did she send it to Fred Johnson and did he forward it to Avasarala? Or did Avasarala intercept a message for Fred Johnson? One last nitpick, how did drummer walk around barefooted without floating around? And without her magnetic boots? They are in space. Okay, that was all for this episode. Greetings, all the best, Fred from the Netherlands.
Yeah, that brief backside shot of drummer was unexpected to say the least. And yeah, her legs must have been healed miraculously.
You know, I thought it was her spine that had gotten messed up, but either way, like, you don't see any scars. But I wasn't thinking about that.
Right, yeah, that didn't hit me at first either. But of course, Fred's going to catch things like that because he's good. And yeah, he thought that it might have been a body double, and he went back and looked at it, got a couple of screenshots of her ear, and verified that, yeah, that was her all right.
Interesting. And it's interesting, too, that it's like you don't think of it, just like I didn't think about the scars. She's not wearing mag boots. Yeah, I didn't think about that at all either.
Right.
It's like, huh.
Yeah.
Weird. Not something I thought about. You know what? I was wondering if that was the correct ship, too, or if it was a lie, the Barkeith.
Right.
It's like, just because she said it doesn't mean squat. I mean, she knows what's going out, right?
Right.
So,
absolutely.
yeah.
She could have told him a completely different ship's name to set a trap for him.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't feel comfortable with Bobby and Alex right now.
No.
And yeah, Fred, I definitely understand the issues that have occurred with Kaz Anvar, and seeing some scenes in this episode definitely made things a little more uncomfortable. I do know that the reports of what he didn't come out until after this season had been filmed. It didn't creep out any of the cast or the actors in it because they didn't know what had happened yet. So at least there's that. And yeah, if I had to guess, I would say that drummer sent it to Johnson and Johnson sent it to Avasarala as far as Ashford's recording.
I don't know. I kind of feel like maybe she sent it to everybody she knows. Like, yeah, everybody who would, like, Holden gets it, and Naomi gets it, and Fred Johnson, and you know what, Avasarala, you get it too, because I don't know who's going to do something, but y'all need to know what's up.
Right.
You never know.
Nope. So, once again, Fred, we really appreciate your feedback, and man, is this getting insane quickly, so can't wait to hear your thoughts on episode 4.
Thanks, Fred. Oh my gosh, so we always love reviews from everybody, so we want to know what you guys think about the show, about our show, about everything. So you can send us your comments and questions about the show, or just tell us what I don't know because I don't read the books because I'm so far behind everything. You can send us something at contactus@fangirlzone.com, and we will happily play it or read it on air. If it's not audio, you don't have to do audio. We just happen to have a couple of people who enjoy doing that. And while you're at it, if you can rate and review us on iTunes and every other platform you find us on, because good ratings and reviews help other fans of the show find us. Tell your friends about this show. They can watch 4 full seasons and then catch up with you on episode 5. So you can talk about how awesome it is. And if there's speed readers out there, they can also read all the books.
You need to be data to read all the books.
Oh my gosh. Not
in time.
Fast, yeah. We do, of course, hope you're enjoying the podcast. So for this episode of Sci-Fi Talk, I am Sean Fangirl S.
And I'm Steve. I have burned all the bridges in front of me and behind me. And I don't give a fuck.
And until next time.